promise you. So what are we doing today, Helen?
Okay, well, hey, everybody, you're listening to Common Sense Matters, and I'm here with our guest, Roger Villatoro. He's a junior at Sewanee. He's pre-med, and we're going to be talking with him about DACA. But before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know you're listening to Common Sense Matters. This is our bi-monthly show for the Franklin County Democratic Women, and I just wanted to make a few announcements. This weekend, the Democratic Party will have a booth at the Fall Heritage Festival, so stop by if you need to register to vote or want to talk to us or learn about the issues. So we're going to have a booth all weekend at the Fall Heritage Festival in Cowan. We have a meeting this Saturday, September 16th at 9 o'clock at the Franklin County Annex in that small meeting room next to the voter registration office, the Election Commission office. That's going to be this Saturday, September 16th at 9 a.m. And then on October 7th at 5:30 at the Franklin County Annex Community Room, we're having our big rally and barbecue dinner. So we're going to have barbecue with all the fixings. Tickets are $15. You can get them at the door, or if you know any members of the party, you can just buy a ticket from them. And we're going to have all the candidates who have declared so far will be there and speaking.
So you're going to be busy over the next few weeks.
We are. We're doing too much. We don't have the manpower to be doing all this stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to get those announcements out there. So again, put it on your calendar, October 7th at 5:30. That's a Saturday. It'll just be dinner. You'll still have time. Actually, right after that, I think the Chamber of Commerce is having their casino night. Have y'all announced that? Anything about that?
Not really.
Oh. So anyway, you can get both in one night because theirs is a little bit later, ours is a little bit earlier. I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to lose all my money.
Are you going to go this year?
I might, yeah. I'm thinking about it if I'm not too worn out from this.
I got you.
But anyway, let's get, so DACA has been in the news lately. I'm sure y'all have all heard that word. Some of y'all might have heard that word and said, what does DACA mean?
Really?
So, we're going to learn all about DACA today. So I have a student from Sewanee. His name is Roger Villatoro. He's a junior. He is a pre-med biology major here. So Roger, tell us about yourself. Where are you from? How did you find Sewanee? What are your plans for the future? All that kind of stuff.
Well, good morning to all of you listeners. Sorry. Well, my name is Roger Villatoro. I am from Honduras. I was born in Honduras, actually, and I immigrated to the United States when I was 5. I currently live in Miami, Florida, and have a big family. I have 4 other siblings.
Are you the oldest or the youngest?
I am the oldest of the 4. Yes.
Wow.
I do have a stepbrother that's older than me, but yeah. And I currently go to Sewanee, the University of the South, and I am studying biology pre-med with a minor in politics and in Spanish.
And how did you find out about Sewanee? How did you choose Sewanee?
Okay, well, I became Episcopalian when I was 13 years old. Before that I was Catholic, but I am Episcopalian, and I used to be heavily involved in the youth for my diocese, and I was traveling the country, going to events, network meetings, stuff like that, and we had an event actually one time at the DuBose Conference Center in Mont Eagle, and we decided to check out the university. I liked it, and eventually things ended up lining up for me coming up to Sewanee and studying here, and currently loving it. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you. So this is the first thing. What does DACA stand for?
Okay.
What do the letters DACA stand for?
The letters DACA stand for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
Okay. And so you said you were 5 when you came over.
Yes, I was.
Did
5.
y'all come overland, or did your parents fly, or what?
I can't remember most of it, but we walked through the desert. Yes, we came on land. Yes.
Wow. Okay. And your brothers and sisters, were they born here in the U.S. or were they born over there too?
All 4 of my siblings were born here in the U.S.
Okay, so you were the only one. Okay. So your brothers and sisters are U.S. citizens, but you are undocumented.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And how does a person qualify for the DACA program? What conditions do you have to meet in order to be enrolled in the DACA program?
Okay. In order to qualify for DACA, you must have came into the United States before you were 15 or 16, I believe.
I think it's 16.
All right, 16.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, you kind of had no choice in the matter. Your parents.
Right. You came as a kid.
Right. In your case, it was 5.
Yes, you must be in the U.S. for at least 5 years. Mm-hmm. After that, after coming, you must currently be in school, have a high school diploma or a GED, or be in higher education, and also you must not have a felony in your record.
Okay, I thought being in the military was also one of those things.
Yes, or currently serving in the military. However, you are unable to serve in the military if you don't have a residency or a green card, as it's called.
Oh, okay. And then once you qualify for DACA, what does that entail?
Right.
What do you have to do to keep that up?
Right.
And what are the benefits of being in DACA?
So once you receive DACA, what DACA entails is it affords you a social security number, and with that social security number, you receive a work permit. Mm-hmm. With that work permit and social security, you are able to, for example, obtain a license, apply to schools. Before DACA, I probably would have been unable to apply to Sewanee because you need a social security in order to apply to school. And I mean, there is no benefit. You cannot. I mean, there is a benefit because you can work, you can study legally. But however, it's not a legal status. Therefore, you're unable to vote. You are unable to receive federal financial aid. You're not able to receive public financial aid.
So you can't get food stamps or Medicaid or anything like that?
No.
No, okay.
No.
But when you work, you are still paying into Medicaid and...
Right. You are paying, you are required to pay
out
taxes. I believe that DACA recipients have paid in the last year $11 billion or something like that of dollars in taxes. Yeah.
So had you not applied for the DACA thing, you would probably just sort of be working under the table.
I probably would be working cheap labor somewhere. It's the reality of illegally immigrating to this country.
Okay. And then why did President Obama pass DACA by executive order and not go through Congress?
Right.
So that's one of the arguments that people are using against it. It's not legal because Congress didn't pass it. So why did he do it by executive order?
So the president is afforded certain privileges to bypass Congress and kind of make an emergency law whenever Congress is not acting. But so back in, I'm going to say, I'm not really sure, but back in 2011, I guess, there was this attempt at a comprehensive immigration reform, and what is called the Gang of Eight form, which was 4 Republican and 4 Democratic senators. They teamed up together to create a bipartisan bill.
Is that the DREAM Act, or is this something in addition?
This is the DREAM Act.
Oh, the DREAM Act.
Yes. So there's been many versions of the DREAM Act attempted to be passed throughout the years, but this was the Gang of Eight DREAM Act, and it was, like I said, it was a bipartisan bill.
And you said that Corker and Alexander voted for this.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
or you said it passed overwhelmingly in the Senate.
Yes, in the Senate it passed with flying colors. However, in the House, John Boehner did not even allow it to go to vote. However, it felt as if it could have passed with enough effort. But however, President Obama at the time saw that immigration reform was not going to be possible, so he decided to use his executive powers to create this program, DACA, to protect these, as they're called, dreamers.
Mm-hmm. So did the DREAM Act apply to immigration in general, or just for people like you who came against their will as children? Like, was it for everybody, or was it just for DACA people? The DREAM
Right.
Act?
In order for you to receive DACA, you must meet those qualifications.
Right.
So.
But I guess what I'm asking was that original DREAM Act, was it a general immigration bill, or was it only for young people brought over as children?
That original one, the one that was passed by the Gang of Eight, was comprehensive. So it covered everybody. It covered all the, I wouldn't say it covered, but
it applied.
It applied to many of the 11 million unauthorized immigrants that are in the country. Mm-hmm. The new DREAM Act that was just introduced by Senator Dick Durbin and Lindsey Graham, that DREAM Act now only applies to dreamers, as they're called, to DACA recipients.
Okay. And what does DREAM stand for? DREAM. That's an acronym too, just like DACA. Do you know?
I do not know what DREAM stands for.
All right. So a DACA, someone who qualifies for DACA, who has never had a felony, who is in school or has done the military and all that, they are what we mean, and who came before the age of 16. Those are what we call dreamers.
Dreamers,
right?
yes.
And you are one. Okay.
And you also must be under 30, I believe it is.
Oh, under 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after, even if you were here, even if you came at the age of 15, or let's say 10, and you've been here 20 years, you didn't qualify for DACA. And even if you went through high school and everything, so.
Where do most of the dreamers come from? We generally, most people in their mind, they picture Latin America, but I'm sure they come from other countries too. What are some of the other countries that they come from?
I'm pretty sure you can find dreamers like from Haiti, mainly poor countries in the United States. I know a high amount do come from Latin America, but there's definitely other countries that other countries where dreamers come from.
There's quite a few that are from Africa, and I think Ireland actually has quite a few.
Really? Okay. And there's also a lot from South America, for sure.
Why do you think their parents take that risk of crossing over the border with no legal status?
Well, I'll share mine.
Okay,
so Honduras is, it's traditionally, it has some of the most dangerous cities in the world. I think
the highest murder rate.
Yes, back in maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, San Pedro Sula, which is a state in Honduras, had the highest murder per capita rate. The country behind San Pedro Sula was a country in Africa going through a civil war. So think about that. There's a country that has a democratic government at number 1, and then a country going through a civil war at number 2 and 3. So it was, so many people. And
these murders, are they mainly through gang violence?
Yeah, this is mainly through cartel, gang violence.
This is all sort of fueled by the drug trade?
Yes, yes. Corrupt governments, stuff like that. But also, many people are not only escaping the violence, but also escaping the poverty that exists in our countries. Like, for example, Honduras, there are definitely parts where it's immense poverty, like immense poverty.
So your parents are thinking, well, a life spent illegally is better than getting murdered or starving. Right.
And the reason my parents decided to take that risk with me and bring me, actually, my mom came before me, and she worked, obtained enough money to pay in order to bring me with my aunt. So I came with my aunt. But the reason my mom brought me was pretty much so that I can have a better life, because the poverty and the violence in Honduras is not a good atmosphere to grow up in, and she thought that my chances of having a better life would be illegally in the United States. So.
And I've heard that with these gangs, like you have to take a side, and if you don't take a side, is that true or?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Like I came when I was 5, but they're. I mean, it's just dangerous because, for example, if they know that you're coming from America, they automatically assume that you're wealthy and that they can get some money from you for ransom and stuff like that. So it's definitely dangerous. It's not safe.
So if the DACA program were to end today, what would happen to you personally? Would you have to withdraw from Sewanee or go back to...
President Trump announced that he is going to end DACA. Apparently, however, there is a 6-month delay in that decision.
But if it happened today, what would you have to do you think? Or?
Well, I'd probably... I mean, my Social Security would not be valid anymore. The only reason my Social Security is valid is because I have that work permit. Therefore, I mean, I wouldn't be able to go to school. I wouldn't be able to work. I also work at Sewanee. So I mean, I don't know what I would do, but I wouldn't be in school. Stuff like that.
And then, would you have a life in Honduras?
No.
No.
No, I would not. Like I said, I've lived here. If I weren't born in Honduras, I would say that I was actually born here because I've lived my whole life here. I've lived my childhood, my teen years, and now going into my adult years.
And
so do you have family in Honduras still?
I do have extended family in Honduras. My grandma also lives there. But yes, I do have family in Honduras.
So and if anyone has a question for Roger, we always hear about these dreamers and these DACA people. We have a real one right here. This is your time to ask them questions. So the number is 967-2201, and Roger would love to answer your questions, dispel any myths about the program. So again, call 967-2201 and ask him anything you want to ask. So I had another question. Suppose the DACA program failed. How would a person coming from one of these countries do it legally? Like we're always telling people, well, why don't you just come in legally? I've found myself saying that. Well, how does one do that, or is that even possible?
See, this is something that really, it's okay. It's such a difficult process, and people don't understand. People, I guess, assume that it's just, I'm going to sign this I'm going to fill out this application, sign it, send it to the U.S. government, and I get my citizenship within a week. No. The way it would work is, if I wanted to come the legal way, as it's said, I would have to go to the U.S. Embassy, fill out an application, pay tons of money for the application. I think it's around, I don't know, I'm going to say $500 at least
now,
for the application. Now, what do you
have to pay for DACA? I know that DACA, they have to pay every 2 years.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, yes. So DACA is a 2-year work permit. Therefore, your Social Security is valid for two years. And then after those 2 years, before it expires, you must renew it, or if you want to renew it. But you renew it, and you pay... I
think it's like $800?
Yes, close to that, plus lawyer fees.
Okay.
So
every 2 years you're paying that $800.
Every 2 years. Yes.
Okay, but let's get back to my question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to divert.
No, it's fine. I forgot to mention that.
So if you were going to come, it would mean going to the U.S. Embassy, paying thousands of dollars.
Right,
okay.
And then before that, you would have to show. I mean, during the process, you have to show that in order for you to receive what's called your green card, what's known as a green card or your residency, you must show that you will not be a liability to the United States. So you must show that you can financially support yourself. If you're going to come study here, you must show that you have the financial means in order to study here. You must, and then after that, the whole process, on average, takes between 10 to 20 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, in order for you to get that green card, that residency that allows you to come here. My aunt,
not even citizenship. That's
no,
just
that's residency. And then after you receive your residency and you come to the United States, you must be here for at least 3 years before you can apply for citizenship. But like I said, that process takes 10, 20 years. My aunt just actually got it, and she applied a long time ago. And she's actually here now, thank God. But that whole process, it takes so much time, so much money, and sometimes people don't have that much time. People don't have 10 to 20 years if there's a gang breathing on your back, asking you to pay fines in order for you to run your business. You know, it's...
in Honduras, if you own a business, you have to sort of pay off the gang.
Not all people, but yes, some people definitely they have the gang threatens them and they have to, you know, pay like a fine or a donation. I don't know. But yes, people don't have 10 to 20 years to live in poverty, to live in violence, to live in constant danger and constant fear for their lives.
So I know that when President Obama announced DACA, I think it was in 2012, a lot of young people sort of who were living illegally and living in the shadows came out of the shadows and registered for the program and sort of exposed them and their families to risk. Are some of them now knowing that DACA is going to end, or are some of them regretting having done that? Do you know of anyone who is wishing they hadn't done that? Like maybe they're putting their family at risk of deportation now?
Right. At the beginning, there was definitely a lot of fear within the immigration community because they didn't know if this information was going to be dispelled over to the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. There was constant fear, but a lot of people applied because they knew this was a benefit for them, you know. And now that it's ending, it's definitely scary because not only are people being left insecure about their future, but also like they don't know if this information is once again going to be used to deport not only them but their families.
Right. Because like their parents wouldn't qualify for DACA, so when they say, okay, well here I meet all the DACA requirements, then by extension their parents are implicated, you know. Or they will know. I mean, the government will know about their parents.
Oh, well, the government does not know. So, for example, when I turn in my application, I turn it to the U.S. Customs and Immigration Services, which is the USCIS. The USCIS they have a policy that they will not share this information with the Department of Homeland Security, which is a different entity in the government. But like I said, you can never be too sure. There's definitely that fear that it could happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but yeah, because like when they come for you, like if they do come for you, they go to where they believe that you live, and if there are people that meet that umbrella, they also go with you. You know, they're also deported with you.
Right. In what ways do you feel like you and other dreamers contribute to our society? There's sort of a perception that y'all are just a drain on our society. How are y'all contributing to the U.S. economy and society?
Well, like I said earlier, dreamers and illegal immigrants too, many of them pay taxes to the U.S. without being represented or anything. So definitely there's that economic aspect of it. But I guess in culture, also the economic factor of it, like there's a lot of immigrants that are in construction, building the buildings in the cities, and so and then culture. I mean, we're definitely assimilating our culture into the U.S. culture. So that's, the food, the family atmosphere, all of that is being shared with Americans as well.
And like for example, you're going to be a doctor here in the U.S.
Hopefully.
And many of them have participated in the military.
Right.
Have defended our country. So I would say that's a benefit. Okay, so if you were the president today and you could just wave a wand and Congress would do whatever you wanted, what would be your ideal version of comprehensive immigration reform?
Okay.
I mean, you can't just say, I would let anybody in who wanted to. You know, I mean, the country would probably get overrun. But what is your idea of like a reasonable and sensible way to do this?
I definitely
how we're doing it now.
I definitely believe we need to improve our border security. That's definitely a thing that needs to happen. Because, like I said, the drug cartels are still getting through our southern border. But I would definitely, the original DREAM Act, I think it was perfect for me. The Gang of Eight DREAM Act, which was a bipartisan bill, that bill allowed pretty much many of the 11 million unauthorized immigrants that are in the country, if you didn't have a felony, if you can pay for that application, if you didn't have a felony, if you didn't have an arrest record, if you can pay the application fee, what else? I think you must like show that you must show like an effort to learn English or something like that. You must not be a burden to society, like to society, like food stamps or anything like that. So I think, okay, so for me it would be, if you are a dreamer, you qualify. If you've been in this country for more than 10 years, you qualify. If you don't have an arrest record, you qualify.
To go through the process.
That would be my ideal.
So similar to what they were going to pass.
Yeah, similar to what they were going to pass, but was unable to be passed.
Okay. Well, and okay, so there are a lot of worries and things that people have about DACA.
Right.
One is that they are on welfare and food stamps and Medicaid. Is that true?
Well, I am unable to be on welfare, food stamps, or Medicaid. I actually needed to go to the hospital in Suwannee. I ended up going, and I received a huge bill. I have it's crazy.
So none of the people in DACA are eligible for any of those services.
Medicaid, no, not for Medicaid, nor food stamps, nor welfare. You just can't.
Okay.
You don't qualify, no.
All right. Some of the other I'm just telling you all the arguments I've heard against it.
Okay.
It encourages more illegal immigration. So, like, if people like your parents say, okay, I'm going to bring my child over illegally, then other parents, and then you end up getting legal status, then other parents in Honduras are going to say, well, I'm going to do that too with my kids. Do you think maybe that might be a thing?
It definitely, I'm going to say yes, but no. So, when President Obama announced DACA the first time, there was a huge wave of kids that were illegally immigrating into the United States by themselves.
And I'm not saying that immigration is a bad thing. My mother is an immigrant.
Right.
She's an immigrant.
No,
you can tell by looking at me, but my mother's an immigrant. Everyone in here in this room, parents or grandparents or somebody was an immigrant. I mean, immigration has made our country great, but some people just say that they're saying we're going to have more illegal immigration.
I just think it encouraged more because people were misinformed. They misinterpreted what President Obama was offering to dreamers. So President Obama actually had to come out and say, like in a public briefing, he said, guys, please do not send your kids. This is like, you do not qualify if you did not come before you were 15 or lived here for more than 5 years. Like, you don't qualify.
So this just applies to a small group of people, and people were thinking, oh, it applies to everybody.
Right. Like, it was just misinterpretation of the law that was being passed.
All right. If anybody else has questions for Roger, give us a call, 967-2201. Now, I have another question. You said Honduras is filled with crime, mainly fueled by drugs. What could the U.S. do? I mean, because to me, the ideal situation would be that life in Honduras were livable enough so that people wouldn't want to have to leave. Is there anything that the U.S. could do to make life better there? Or, I mean, do you feel like it's our insatiable need for drugs, the amazing demand for drugs here that's kind of messing up Honduran culture?
It definitely is.
Do we need to do more in the U.S. to... Yeah. Okay, you got it. Hang on. We'll get back to the drug thing again.
All right, go ahead.
The problem is not that we are against the immigrants. The problem is that they've been here for 15, 20 years and didn't become citizens. Why is that they don't become citizens? If they come in and they're illegal, if they became citizens, they would no longer be illegal.
Correct. Ma'am, good morning. The reason that I've been here for 15 and 20 years and I have not become a citizen yet is because there is no law that allows me to.
You wanted to?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Jesus, I would love to become a citizen, but there is currently no law that applies to me allowing me to become a citizen. The only way that you can become a citizen
once you're already here, you mean?
So in order for me to become a citizen, like I said, I would have to go through the pathway of applying in Honduras.
You'd have to move back to Honduras and wait 20 years.
Yeah, wait 10 to 20 years, and then get my residency. Like I said, the residency comes before the citizenship. Come into the United States, wait another 3 to 5 years, apply for my citizenship, and take a test, which I think
you would ace.
I would ace, but like I said, many Americans would not. Think about that. But I would have to take that test, and then after that test, if I pass it, I would become a citizen. So the whole process takes long, and currently there is no law that allows me to become a citizen while in the United States.
Once you're already here.
Yes.
And like I said, you had no choice in coming here.
I did not, no.
Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Well, I just think that there should be a way to make everybody legal, and they should be able to become citizens when they come. Should not have to wait 15 or 20 years to do it.
Sounds like that's the answer.
Well, it sounds like that's the DREAM Act that sounds like the DREAM Act that they were trying to pass back in 2012.
I mean, this DREAM Act has actually, the DREAM Act, I'm not sure what exactly it stands for, but the DREAM Act has been introduced in Congress for, countless amounts of times, and it has failed. This started before the Bush administration. The DREAM Act was introduced into Congress, it just hasn't passed. Many people have been demanding comprehensive immigration reform, but it just hasn't come.
Let's come back to that. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, I have a few comments and questions.
Right.
All right?
Sure, go.
Okay. Well, as an old school journalist myself, first I'd like to say that a lot of us recognize that the interviewer is leading, and also she is framing certain things that are said and phrases used to be sympathetic towards the interviewee, and we recognize that. That being said, okay, I just want the gentleman to understand that most Americans, we have nothing against immigration or immigrants. In fact, we understand that that is of vital importance of our country and how we work. But most of us want to see the rule of law applied and the rule of law stand. I don't know how old you are or whether or not you understand what the immigration laws of your own home country is or your parents' home country. But it is of vital importance that a country has borders that are enforced and laws that are enforced. And that I understand the laws and borders in Mexico are very strong. And I wonder how you feel about that, knowing that, like, as a U.S. citizen, if I were to just cross over into Mexico, I mean, I would be in big trouble. They would put me in prison. And how do you feel about that?
Is that a question for me? Okay.
Yeah.
like I said, this was not a decision that I made. I had no common sense. I had no sense of reason when I was 5 years old. I barely knew how to speak Spanish at that point. But if I could, I would go through the whole process of becoming a resident in my country, waiting 7 to 20 years in order to become a resident of the United States, because in Honduras, it's just super dangerous. Like, who knows where I would be right now if I had not come into the United States illegally? Who knows? I don't know. I'd be either a poor man, I'm here, a productive, not citizen of this country. I am currently studying. I am not an economic burden into this country. Yes, it is illegal what I did, but I did it without conscience. I was 5.
We understand.
Right.
No fault of your own.
What do you feel? Would you be happy? Would you be happy with if there was some kind of law that was passed that these people, if they were giving X amount of time in order to secure their citizenship in the proper way? Would you feel like that might be the answering question to solving this dilemma?
I really do feel that would be extremely helpful. The dreamers who are here and who have been contributing to our society, I don't think anyone has any problems. Everyone is understanding of their situation and the fact that they had no say in that. We understand that. And we do understand that there does need to be some comprehensive plan to get them their status changed in this country so that they can be integrated in and continue to be productive. I don't have the answers. That's what we elect people in Congress to do. Unfortunately, it appears that we have made big mistakes in who we have elected. So I admit on my behalf for my failure there.
President Trump actually stated at the beginning when he got elected that there needs to be a better immigration system. So people definitely encourage illegal immigration. Like I said, that process is so long. So President Trump has actually spoken about maybe shortening the time it takes for you to get that residency. So he's talked about it actually. Who knows what's going to happen?
But he's put Washington on notice.
Yes.
That they've got to come up with a plan that will work and maybe is fair. By a certain deadline, and
right.
So he's saying we've got to come up with an answer. We don't need to lollygag around, guys. This is what you're paid to do. Let's make it happen.
And actually, there is a new DREAM Act that is going to be introduced soon, hopefully, this is a bipartisan bill, I think.
Lindsey Graham and Bob Durbin. Yeah.
Lindsey Graham is a Republican and Dick Durbin is a Democrat. So they are both co-sponsoring this bill into Congress in order to get these dreamers to receive a legal legal status, and eventually a path to citizenship.
And I would just like to say, and I'd like you to know that I believe that for the most part, most Americans do support that. We support you all. But I believe that most people want to see things done legally and done right, and it's nothing against any of the dreamers. It is something that all Americans, all citizens need to stand up for and support, are the rule of law and our borders and our country, our people. And yes, I was heartened to hear the president talk about that. Before he was a Republican, he was a Democrat, and he was loved and revered. And then he became a Republican, and everybody hated him, which is really disingenuous. And
I never loved or revered him.
Ridiculous, but it's the way it is. And I believe that he's going to do a lot to help you all. And I'd like you all to know, people do support you, and we understand what's going on. But I'd like for you and others to know our side and how we feel, and that's just me.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling.
Okay. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. And to the charge that I'm biased, yeah, I'm biased. I mean, Al here is a neutral journalist. This is the Democratic Party's radio show, and we have a bias. So I'm not pretending here to be unbiased.
I'm a little biased.
But I do see your point. I am framing things from a Democratic standpoint, and she's totally right. I'm glad she picked up on that. But I'm not trying to not be biased here.
I got a question. The way we're going, the stats you're going right now, I don't know how long before you graduate.
2 years.
And then of course that's just the start. Once that 2 years is over, what you're wanting to do, you still have many more years of schooling to do before you reach your goal.
I want to become a cardiothoracic surgeon, so that's going to take me at least 10 years.
So my point, I guess, is being the fact that you are not considered a citizen of the United States, what kind of doors are closed to you as far as education, further education, as far as employment? Once you get that education, what kind of problems is coming down the road for you there if you cannot become a citizen?
Okay. Where I currently stand, I would not be able to become a doctor. In order for you to become a doctor, to become a licensed doctor, you need to be either minimum be a United States resident or a citizen. Citizen is higher than resident. Citizen can vote. So as I currently stand, I am just a DACA recipient. I would not be able to become a doctor. So that's closed already for me. If I wanted to further my education, aka go to medical school, I would need some type of financial aid, right? I would not be able to receive federal loans. I would have to take out bank loans.
So you're getting a private scholarship from Sewanee?
Yes, I have a private scholarship from Sewanee, and
private
scholarships and grants, yes. And I also pay out of pocket. So that's taking a toll on my and my parents' pocket. Yeah. But it's expected.
Well, that's it. Yeah, anyone pays for it.
What does your parents do in Florida?
My mom is a housekeeper, and my dad is a construction worker.
And I'm sure right now they just got hit hard.
Yes, we just got hit by Hurricane Irma. Not too much damage on my house, just a couple of trees fell down, but there has definitely been damage in South Florida.
There'll be a lot of work for your daddy doing construction.
Let's hope so. We need it.
I want to say one thing in defense of President Trump, which I'm not a fan, but people are saying that he's against the Dreamers. I think he's doing this to make DACA more tenable. Maybe he claims to love the Dreamers. I don't know if he does or not, but I think what he's doing is trying to get Congress to piss or get off the pot, to finally do something. Now, if Congress fails and then he withdraws DACA, then I will be, very angry with him. But if this results in DACA becoming enshrined in law and Congress making it a legal thing, then what he's doing by withdrawing it right now is a good tactic for making. I think it's more tenable.
It definitely puts pressure on both parties to act and make this a law, like you said.
So I don't know if his motive in this is to be anti the DACA people, or is it to protect them by making the law more permanent rather than having to be renewed every or I don't know. Does this have to be renewed every 2 years?
Every 2 years, yes. And President Obama actually tried to expand this a little more. He tried to expand this into a program called DAPA. So the parents of those DACA recipients would receive that same work permit and Social Security for 3 years. Unfortunately, this new DACA was shut down in the district court. So it did not go through.
So what is your parents' status in the United States? Because they made the choice to come across illegally, and are so basically, do they have work permits? I mean, how do they get away with what they're doing?
It's under the table. There's there's really no other option. My parents they have no Social Security, they have no work permit like I do. They have no licenses, like driving licenses, so it's, you know.
So just the grace of the people down there are allowing them to work?
Yes. It's illegal for them to do that, but yes, it's under the table.
And one thing, you know, my husband's a carpenter, and
Okay.
you know, he does carpentry, and he sees wages going down because of undocumented and carpenters coming in and kind of undercutting the wages of American carpenters. And I think, you know, if these carpenters from other countries were legal and were documented, then they would be getting more wages, and everyone would be getting higher wages. But when someone's illegal, you can pay them whatever you want, right? And then you're undercutting American workers, whereas if these Mexican carpenters were legal, then they would be demanding the going rate.
That's definitely a real thing.
I think it would help American carpenters.
Yeah, you know? It's definitely a real thing, and it's like, it just sucks because there's sometimes illegal immigrants that in their country they were lawyers, like, you know, these were professionals in their country, and they come here to work these low scale, like high labor jobs because there is no other available option for them to earn a living.
Do we have another call?
No.
Oh, okay. I heard the phone ringing. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, President Trump's thing about how he you know, encourages immigration if they're educated and if they're high skilled. But I think America has a lot of high skilled workers. I think what we need are low skilled workers to work in agriculture. I mean, I don't think the typical American can pick tomatoes in the hot sun for all day. I really don't think that they're capable of that. Or in a meat processing plant, or the jobs that they do. I mean, I think we would be in big trouble without the low skill work that's coming in. And I just wish that those people were legal, so that then they're not driving wages down for Americans.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of questions.
All right.
This guy's been in the country since he's 5 years old.
Correct.
Let's see. What's he here on now? A resident card or a green card?
Are you on a resident card or a green card?
Neither. I am on neither.
Neither. He's just DACA.
Okay. But he didn't get a green card?
No, he can't get any kind of a card. You know, to be honest with you, he's, you know, if I'm right, you can't get any kind of status, right?
No, because there is no law that allows me to. There is no provision in immigration law that allows me to apply for a residency or a green card, as it's known.
Well, I thought Obama printed out so many of these green cards for the illegal people in the country. Back, what was it, in 12 or something?
No, that's a myth. That's a myth in what Obama did. What Obama did was he allowed kids that came before they were 16 to have a work permit and a Social Security. That is not in no way a residency. It just allows you to work, and basically you
or go to school.
Or go to school, and you are basically going to the back of the line in deportation. And if you do not renew that, you're just in the line for deportation, if that makes any sense.
Right. Well, I understand that. But see, now, my wife's an immigrant. I have a stepdaughter who, in the process of all this, was applying for her green card here. Now, this has been a few years back. And she got caught up in the thing with the government printed too many green cards. So the country exceeded what they were supposed to have.
Right.
In the meantime, she aged out. And she's in this 5 to 7 year line from the country she's immigrating from. You have been here. Now, I don't want to get on to you, but illegals have been here. You came when you were 5.
Correct.
They against your will or with your parents or anything else.
Correct.
Number one, going by the immigration laws in this country, your parents are felons. They have overstayed, they're illegal. That's the bottom line on all of this. What about all the people that are in line waiting to come that have done it correctly, that have been pushed out 7, 8 years? But my stepdaughter should have been here a few years back. But because the government put out more green cards for the illegals, honey, she got the long line. Yeah, and I'm passionate about it. Get in line, pay the bills. Get your parents to pay the bills. I don't know if people realize if something comes up, you become a citizen. Wait a minute. Once you go Chattanooga, take your citizenship, or wherever you take it, they stand there and say, if your parents are here, come see us. They're right in the door. See, there is a back door for your parents to become legal. It's not just the dreamers.
I'm sorry.
People who brought them here.
I'm trying to get clear.
Will automatically be straight into citizenship.
No.
Is your daughter waiting in the U.S. or is she waiting in the country where she's from? I'm not clear about that.
She's waiting in the United Kingdom.
Oh,
okay. English-speaking, well-educated.
Okay. I just didn't know if she were here waiting or she were over there. Okay, go ahead. We're almost out of time, but go ahead and answer.
Or any other race or from any other country, we could brought her here and been a dreamer.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
But she has aged out the process because we printed too many green cards.
I'm not exactly sure on that whole controversy. I'm not sure about that. I'm not going to comment about that. But the reason,
sir, I'm a man who has paid the money to the government and to the attorneys.
Okay, let him answer you. Let him answer your question.
Yeah, we're almost out of time, and he has to be at class at 9:30.
I've paid. Let's see, I've renewed it 3 times, so I've paid what? I'm gonna say close to $2,000 plus lawyer fees. I'm gonna say another $2,000. So I've paid $4,000 so far.
That's chicken feed.
Okay, fair.
What is that? You have received a free education in this country.
Because of my hard work and effort.
What about your elementary education?
Okay, it's public education.
That's right.
Okay.
You received a free education in this country.
Well, I
could have gone to private school and my parents would have paid
for it.
Well,
you might have gone to private school. And if you did, then they were breaking the law.
Sir.
I don't even know how illegal children get in the education system.
Hey, thanks for calling. We got another phone caller waiting, okay?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you, man. Bye.
And I don't think anyone begrudges your daughter-in-law her citizenship, too. We wish she will get it.
Good morning.
Good morning. It just cracks me up that everybody calls agricultural the low-skilled labor when there's so many jobs that are to be had right now that people, American and illegals, don't want to do because they're too hard to do. And I'm American and I do them every day. And it's just funny when you say Americans don't want to do the job. It's funny that people want to work or they want a paycheck, but they don't want to do the work, and the ones that do want to work already have a job. That, it's not the low-skilled people that you need in agricultural. It's people that want to work and want to make better, and then, it's a screwed-up system because you can hire somebody and they work 2 days and they can't handle it, so then they're gone. American, Mexican, whatever, it don't matter. It's just funny that everybody keeps throwing it out there that Americans don't want to do the work. It just kind of really gets on my nerves.
All right.
It's hard work. I have a farm. I wouldn't do it for anyone else but myself. I wouldn't do it for money. I'm only doing it for myself. Well,
all right, thanks for calling, okay?
All right.
That's a very good point. We have to go because this young man has to get to class. But thank you so much for having us, Al.
Well, thanks for coming. It's a great topic, and maybe we can talk about it as it progresses and things go. Maybe we can come back and revisit this subject.
Thank you so much for allowing me this platform to share my story.
All right, real quick, run through what's going to be happening this week, next week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the Franklin County Democratic Party has a meeting this Saturday at 9 o'clock at the here we are, at the Annex, right near the election office. And then on October 7th, we have a barbecue dinner and rally at the Annex Big Community Room, and that's at 5:30. And we hope y'all can come out for that and come visit us at the Fall Heritage Festival. We'll have a booth there. Right. Thank you so much, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Thank you, and you have a great day. Have a good, and thanks for coming out.
All righty.
And it is, wait a minute.